Guys, this one may be a little bit longer than we usually make them, but trust me, I value your time. Every single minute that you spend on this video will not go to a waste. I assure you of that. With that said, we are going to be talking about the Duolingo reading test questions over here. Now, again, Duolingo doesn't have distinctions like the IELTS and TOEFL, so what exactly are the reading questions? I've actually selected those. I've already made a speaking video. If you haven't watched that, you should definitely take a look into it. It is one of the most popular videos on this channel and it will certainly help you ace the speaking section. Coming to the reading, I have 10 tips and tricks for you. I have the question types and I have live solving of those questions for you. So I'll show you exactly how you can go ahead and try to score a 160 out of 160 on the Duolingo exactly by following the techniques. I'll be doing it in front of you so you can see directly what is going on, right? And then from there we'll move forward. By the way, all of this material that I'm going to be using right over here in this video, it's either from the official Duolingo test or it is from the free material that we are giving out. So you can actually get this Duolingo Google Drive link. It's the free material that we offer, by the way. A lot of it is right over here. We will be adding more and more as time passes, of course, right? But for all you have to do for basically getting this, all you have to do is go ahead, sign up on YMGrad.com, or you can go ahead and get our Android and iOS applications and sign up over there, and the links to the free material will be sent to your email. From there you can follow the instructions and get it easily, and you can use all of this, you can reproduce all of this. So all of this material, you can assume that you already have it because it is the free material. Now, with that said, if you like the video, if you like the content that I'm making over here, make sure to subscribe because we have a lot of more Duolingo content coming up. I understand that you guys are looking for it and we're making it as soon as possible. Coming on to the reading section, I want to go ahead and dive right in and I want to show you the questions first. What kind of questions have we put in the reading section and why are those important? So on the reading section of the Duolingo English test, we have put two question types. The first is the read and complete question type. What that means essentially is that you have to read the passage and then you have to fill in the blanks. I'll actually show you an example question right over here. Let me just open it up in front of you. So you can see over here, I have the questions read and complete, and I'm going to click on question number 1. I'm going to bring it to this monitor and you should be able to see this is the kind of question. You basically get a passage sort of, you have to read it and you have to fill in the blanks. How do you do it? Exactly what kind of things you have to take care of? I'm going to be covering all of that in this video, so stick around. You can see over here, this is the second question. Again, I haven't actually solved these questions right now. I'm going to be doing these in front of you. So don't worry about that. I don't want to take a look at them, so I'm avoiding that. But again, for all of these questions, you need to understand that you will get 3 minutes per question, which comes into this form that you have to read and complete the sentences, okay? So 3 minutes per question you get and you have to basically answer this correctly, okay? Now let's close this down and let's move on to the other question type, which is the read and select. So for the read and select questions, you get actually approximately 60 seconds, actually 1 minute of time, right? And what are those questions like? Let me actually show you. I'm going to pull up a question on the screen right over here and you can see, choose the real words from the written list. So it's going to give you a lot of words. Now some of these would be fake words. That means these words would not be actual English words. So you do not have to select those. You have to select the ones which are actual English words, and that's really the end of this. Basically you just have to select those, you have to click next, and that's it. It's as easy as that. It sounds simple, but it can be tricky, so that's why we have some tips and tricks for you in this video. Now what we are going to do is we're going to start with the read and complete questions, right? We're going to give you some tips first, then I'm going to solve these 3 questions in front of you. I'm going to use a timer right over here on the screen, so you'll see me solve it with the timer, okay? And in terms of the next questions, we'll cover the read and select after that. Alright guys, moving to the read and complete question types, the tips that I have for you and the tricks that I have for you. I actually have 5 of those for this question type and I'm going to go over them one by one. The first one is to understand the context first. You don't want to jump into the reading all of a sudden. What you want to do is you want to take a look at the question, you want to take a look at the entire passage, you want to understand what is the context, what is going on in this passage. Most people, what they do is they start reading the first line and they start filling it up. Wrong approach. Don't go down that road because chances are you're gonna get confused and you're gonna think, okay, maybe this one fits or this one fits, both of them fit, so which one should I use? But if you have the context, you will very easily be able to tell which word to add over there. Okay, we're gonna do it live in a bit, by the way. The second tip is that if you don't get an answer, skip it for now. Okay, you have to learn to skip. A lot of people, they just cannot let go, which actually is a disadvantage. You have to let go of the answer that you do not understand so that you can fill up the ones that you do. I'm not saying exit the question. I'm saying fill up all the remaining ones that you are able to understand and then come back to the one that you're not able to get. Okay, understand this. If you have 10 blanks and you're not able to get blank number 2, you want to skip it for the time being and you want to come back to it after you've finished all the other 9 blanks. Okay, point number 3 is to finish the Duolingo word list, because the reading section is testing you on your knowledge of the common English vocabulary. There's very limited material available for that. However, in this drive, we have actually compiled these Duolingo most common English test words. Let me actually open this up for you. And I actually wanted to open it up on MS Word, so I just opened it up over here. You can see that all of these are in alphabetical order, and you have to really just go through these words once. All you need to do is go over all of these words and make sure you know what they mean. Okay, most of these are very, very simple. You will know exactly what they mean for the most part. But let's say that, okay, for some reason you do not know the meaning of this particular word, right? I'm just giving you an example. What you can do is you can select this word, then you right click and you say smart lookup. Okay, once you do that, it will look up the word, it will get you the meaning, it will get you the sample sentence, and it will get you some images for it. So what this basically does is it makes your life easier. If you do not know the meaning of the word, it's right over here. You can even copy and paste it, etc., etc., right? So it's as simple as that. Use Microsoft Word. Make sure that you have all of these words. I mean, most of these you will already know the words, right? This is literally a color right over here. You know most of these words. But for some words, maybe you do not know the meaning of the word bottle, just for instance, right? For some words, you're gonna have to make sure that you know these meanings. So again, there's a lot of words over here, around 3,000 words, but I want you to go over these once, okay? It shouldn't take you more than 3-4 hours of your time, by the way. So don't worry about that. Yep, so finish the Duolingo word list. This is the word list that we have actually compiled for you. We feel that these are the words that they will ask you on the test repeatedly, and you will see them come a lot. So that's why you should take a look at them. So this is in the free material and you will get it as soon as you get access to it, okay? So it's easy to use, and I'm gonna put this point into the next one as well, but for now, finish the Duolingo vocabulary. Point number 4 is check for American spellings, okay? The Duolingo English test is one of the rare tests that use American English spellings and not the British ones. And this is actually going to be very important when you're doing questions like the text completion ones. Okay, and the final point, which of course I always like to put it in, is practice, practice, practice. The only thing that you will struggle with over here is there will not be enough questions for the Duolingo. That's why we have compiled this material for you, so go ahead, get it, and you can actually start practicing by your own. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go onto the screen and I'm going to solve 3 questions live in front of you, and you're going to see exactly how you can actually use these tips. Try to score a 160 on the Duolingo. Okay, so here we go. Let me actually open up the questions first off. I've actually compiled them right over here, okay, in this online PDF editor, so that it makes our lives easier, because I do not have some software to write it either way. Anyway, so I'm going to be typing some text over here, okay? I've already selected the text, but that means that I can basically start clicking over here. Oh, I deselected that. Clicking over here and typing, okay? So it's as simple as that. Guys, before we start, as you can see, I have put a timer on the screen. I'm gonna take exactly 3 minutes or less to solve these questions. As you can see, we're gonna do these together, so stick with me and see the exact approach, okay? I'm gonna start the timer and let's begin. Okay, so the timer is started. Now we can begin. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skim through these words first off. Okay, Minneapolis is a city in Minnesota. St. Paul, Minnesota. St. Paul and Minneapolis are twin cities. They write each other, okay? Minneapolis city, 370,000 people. People enjoy lakes, parks. Mississippi River runs through the city. Okay, so they're basically talking about cities, I think 1 or 2 cities, whatever is going on over here. All right, so basically we have the context. They're talking about cities and the people. Okay, I'm gonna have to hurry right now. All right, so I'm gonna actually use the text tool and I'm gonna start. Minneapolis is a city in Minnesota. It dashed next to. Okay, next to, I think I already spoke it. That was really easy. Okay, next to. It is next to, I'm pretty sure this is an S, is next to St. Paul, Minnesota. Right, St. Paul and Minnesota are dash the twin cities. Okay, it's pretty sure, I'm pretty sure it's called, okay, called twin cities, right? And you have to really understand the number of blocks over here. You can only write that many words. So, okay, they're called twin cities, dash, they, dash, right, dash. Okay, because they are, you can see the words are really, really simple. Right next to each other, right? Each other. I mean, it's simple to say. They're called twin cities because they're right next to each other. Okay, Minneapolis is the biggest city. Okay, so I think that was easy to figure out. Biggest city, oh, dash Minnesota. Now we already know that it is a city in Minnesota, so again they're basically just recycling over here. As you can see, it's again going to be in Minnesota. I'm actually going to have to reposition that. Okay, all right, and then with about, I think with about 370,000 people, right? So we'll put in with over there. People dash live here enjoy. Okay, so I do not know what this is, so I'll just skip that for now. Enjoy the lakes, parks, and of course what that means is it can only be the river, right? It can be the river because they're talking about the river in the next line, right? So it's very easy to spot. It's river. People who live here, right? I mean, people who live here. That's got to be the only thing, right? So as you can see, a lot of it is basically just, oh, I actually deleted that. A lot of it is basically just guesswork, but at the same point of time, you have to make sense out of what you're doing, okay? And you have to basically stick to the amount of words you're given. I'm sorry I could not exactly type into the boxes. I'll just reset the timer and let's move on to the next example, and I want you guys to pause it next time and try to do it before I do, okay? Alright, cool. Let's move on to the next one. This seems simple for 3 minutes. Again, I'll start it now, but hopefully you've already done it by now. Okay, great. So birds are found on every continent of the world. Birds different, okay, cold. Others live hot, okay. Birds live in forests, grasslands, cliff faces, in riverbanks, on the stony seashores, down mine shafts, and in roofs. So basically, they're talking about all kinds of birds and you know how diverse they are, how diverse conditions they can live in. Pretty sure, right? So, birds are found on every continent of the world. Birds of different types, right? They're talking about different types of birds. Birds of different types. I was thinking about on. I was like, birds on what? Birds of different types can live. Of course they're talking about living, right? We read over here in the last line they're talking about the living, right? So birds can live in free, cold, and okay, this is environments. I do not know what the first one is. So environments, let me just check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4. Okay, we put in the right amount of words. You have to do this when you're dealing with this PDF tool. So anyway, hopefully you'll be using a notebook. Okay, can live in free, cold environments, and others can live, of course this is can because we already talked about this, right? One sec. Oops. They already mentioned this can over here, right? So they can live in free, cold environments, and others can live in hot. Okay, so they're basically talking about something super cold, so freezing cold environments over here. Let me just write that, sorry about that. Freezing cold environments, and others can live in hot. Okay, now that's pretty much deserts, right? So deserts. Oops, I think I put the wrong I put the eating desserts spelling over there. Desserts, okay. We have 4 blanks and 4 boxes. See, this is why you have to know the spelling. If I had put double S, that would have been wrong, and you know that would have finished at dessert. But again, you're basically communicating in a plural tense at this moment. Others can live in, you know, so basically you have to make sure that you know the tenses, you know what you're doing over here. Okay, everything in the sentence is plural. I cannot use forest, dessert, sorry, you know. So that's it, basically. That was as simple as that, okay. I hope you can understand the approach. Always read the passage before you start working on it. Let's try that again one last time, okay. Let's do it over here. Okay, start the timer. Okay, let's just call her G because her name seems very difficult, or his name seems very difficult, whatever it is, right? So G grew up in Los Angeles. She dash at Harvard Westlake Prep in 1995, went New York to Columbia. She literature, Eastern. In 1999, she got a Bachelor's of Arts degree. Talking about a girl who, of course, this is basically kind of her alma mater, you know, what kind of degrees she attended, etc., etc. We're gonna keep it in that same focus, okay. All right, it's about her studying, right? So it's pretty obvious. She grew up in Los Angeles. She studied, and again, remember, you have to keep the tense in mind, okay. All of these are in past tense. Went, okay. So I'm going to use studied over here, okay, not studies. Studied at the Harvard Westlake, okay, the Harvard Westlake Prep School, okay, that's easy. In 1995, she again went to attend, because you attend a university, right? Attend, right? You have, oh, No, I cannot put in so many words over here. Oh, sorry, my bad. Attend, right? Columbia University. Here she studied, again, it's in the past tense. I'm going to continue that, okay? Studied literature and Eastern blank. Okay, okay, this is a little bit hard. She, okay, this is easy. Graduated, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words, 5 blanks. Okay, in 1999, and she got a bachelor's of arts degree. Okay, so what kind of a program she studied? She studied literature and Eastern religion. GION religions. Let me actually try that again. This one is hard. I'm telling you guys, I did not do these in advance, so this was gonna happen, right? She grew up in Los Angeles, studied at the Harvard Westlake Prep. Okay. She studied literature and Eastern. Really? Okay. I'm gonna go with religions. Eastern religions. It doesn't sound okay, but okay, let's try it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I'm gonna go with religions, no problem. So the most important part over here is that you have to realize that okay, this is my best guess at this point of time. If it is incorrect, I'll let you guys know in the description or in the comments below. But at this point of time, this is what I feel is the best fitting. Again, I also made a mistake over here. I have to make it 2 blanks. So, and you won't make this mistake when you're doing it on the test. It's easy over there. Right here, you know, it's difficult with the PDF, etc. I'm gonna stop the timer. Okay, let's stop it. And of course, at this point of time, you understand that okay, you have to have some guesses at some point of time, but again, you have to go with your best guess. Okay, and whatever you don't know, you have to leave it for the last. So we tried that. I'm glad I was able to show you that, and let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for now these questions are over. I'm going to close out of this. Okay, I'm going to leave out of this. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do is we are going to go over the question type 2, and that is the read and select question type. Before I actually go over and solve the questions for you, let me actually give you 5 more tips and tricks for this question type, by the way, that you can use to your advantage. The first tip that I will give you, and this is actually really important for these question types, is you have to have the word list remembered. Okay, you have to, I'm not saying memorize it, but at least go through the entire word list and understand what kind of words there are. If you find a new word, try to memorize it. Okay, but go through the word list at least once, because those are the most common words spoken in English, by the way. So you have to have those at least to ace this test, right? Number 2, there's no limit to the amount of correct words. A lot of times what happens is if you're taking the test, you will feel, oh, there's so many correct words, only 1 or 2 incorrect. Am I doing something wrong? Out of 10 options, I've chosen 8 or 9. Don't worry, trust your gut, it's completely okay. Point number 3 is to check for spelling. Always check for spelling, because the wrong words, the incorrect words, they will not look incorrect. The way Duolingo will put them in front of you, they will seem as if they are correct. But the way to beat that is to really take a look at these spellings. A lot of times only one character would be, maybe, you know, it should be an F and it will be a T instead, something like that, you know. And it'll feel right, but it won't be. Or maybe they were just 2 vowels and they just put in 1, right? So it'll seem okay, but it won't be. So you really have to go ahead and take a look at these spellings. Again, American English over here, guys. Point number 4 is to learn to trust your gut. A lot of times the timer will be running out on this question because it's only 1 minute. And you're gonna be stuck with, oh, is this really a word or not? I think it is, but I'm not quite sure. You have to trust your gut at that point of time. I cannot give you an answer in general. It's always going to be yes or no. But what you have to do is you have to learn to trust yourself in that case and move on. And finally, of course, point number 5 is to practice, practice, practice. You already have the study material, hopefully, at this point of time. So I want you to use that to your advantage. Alright guys, we are going to go over the read and select question types now. Alright, we're going to do 3 questions. It should be pretty quick from here on out. Okay, let's start with question number 1. I'm just opening that, and here it is in front of you. Now, in order to actually, I should be able to edit this at least, I think. So I'll just use a tool over here. I think this one, right? Okay, good enough. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to underline all the words that are actually words. Let me actually use a different color. Okay, all right guys, starting the timer now, and let's go. Again, only 1 minute. We're gonna have to be quick. Universally is a word. Specialist, correct spelling, no problem. Transitive does not seem like a word, and I've never heard of it. Voluntary is a word. Chempt, not a word. Accelerate is a word. Chart seems like charity, but is not a word. Intention, Promulgation, it seems like something I've heard of, but it's not a word. Decade, not a word. Construct, it is a word. Idealistic, yes. Representative, correct spelling. Personnel, good spelling. Deadlined, sounds correct, but it is really not. It can be deadline or deadlines. Deadline is really nothing. Restart, perfect. Courageous, correct spelling. Starrier, not the correct spelling, and not even a word actually. So these are the words that I would select. Again, we have to be really quick, so I couldn't really do a lot of explaining over here, but just in case you want to test these out, and I may be wrong as well, so you can. So what you can do is you can take a look at the words online. You know, I think Google has a dictionary like this, Google Dictionary, right? And you can actually go ahead and look up a word. Okay, like for instance, transitive, is it a word? Transitive. Oh, it is in fact a word, right? So I got one incorrect over here, as you can see, and it can happen to anyone, really, right? Transitive is a word, and you should have basically underlined that. This part I got wrong. Okay, now the rest of the words, I'm pretty sure that was not a word. All of those were not words, but I just wanted to show you that you can easily make mistakes, and I can too, because again, I'm doing this for the first time as well, this question at least. So again, the rest, I'm pretty sure they're not words. You can actually search these and you will find confirmation for that. Okay, but yeah, I'm glad I could show you actually how to verify these and how actually I can also be incorrect a lot of times. Okay, so maybe not a 160, maybe a 155, but we're gonna get there. Okay, cool. So again, you have the strategy. You needed to know this word, transitive. Learn this from me. You should add this to your dictionary. All right, let's move on to the next question over here. Okay, I'm gonna start the timer again at 60 seconds. I'm gonna bring up the question. I'm gonna make it a little bit larger as well, so you guys can easily see it. Okay, and I'm going to select the tool that they have, right? The pen tool. I'm not quite sure why I can't change the color, but okay, cool. Let's start. Alright guys, we are starting with our question number 2. I've already started the timer. Let's begin. Okay, so niveler, I do not think it is a word. Offend, not a word. Keyboard is a word. Lost is a word. Road is a word. Bookshelf is a word. Pretend, no. Hoken, no. Abalone, no. Funny, yes. Bicycle, yes. Pirate, sounds like pirate, but it is actually not a word. Readily, sounds like readily. See how they are missing just one vowel. It's not a word. Dober. Doberman. I'm not quite sure Doberman, what they were trying to do over here, but not a word. Koken, not a word. Quiz, golf, and mark are all words. Now again, just in case you want to verify something, you do not know, oh, is this a word or not, right? All you can do is you can come over here, you can type in the word Dober, and you will find that, okay, it's not exactly a word, okay? So you're good to go. This one I feel is correct. I really don't have a doubt in any of these actually, but anyway, so we did 2 of these. Let's move on to the third one. Let me just reset the timer right over here. Let me just open up the third one, and here we go. It's on the screen, pretty big. Let's start. All right, guys, let's begin. It's pretty big. It's on the screen. Fancially. All right, fancially is not a word. Luvidant, not a word. Disabled, it is a word. Usural is not a word. Suave. Suave is actually spelled as S-U-A-V-E. This is the incorrect spelling, so I'm not going to select that. Miserly, I do not think it is a word. Retime is a word. You have to retime yourself, etc., etc., right? You have to retime some things. Formanly. Formanly? No. Formerly would have been a word. Formanly does not seem correct. Hobbyian? No. Sharp? Sharp is a word. Very is not a word. Listener? Okay. Gender? No. Inside? This should have been an S, maybe, inside, right? Frame. Registration. Gelatin is not a word. Spility, again, does not seem like a word. So you can see that these questions, like this was the hardest one, I believe, but these questions, their level can rise very, very fast. Again, all you can do is do your best and try to select all the words that you know. Don't select words that you think you know, because chances are those are not words, okay? Select the words that you know. For instance, formanly over here, if we had to verify this, because this is one of the words that I saw. Okay, formanly is not a word. Good enough. I actually had a doubt about that. But anyway, there are others like gender, right? Not a word. There's inside, not a word. You can actually verify all of these if you want. But in general, it's pretty easy to do. And of course, wherever you're doing this from, you will already have the solutions. I just did not want to use any solutions over here directly. I used the images and I showed you the solutions. Okay, so all the best for your Duolingo, guys. Again, make sure to sign up on the application so that you can actually get the free material that I'm talking about over here. And you can follow me on Instagram. I would be more than happy to help you on your Duolingo journey. We have a lot of stuff over there for you guys. You can actually connect with me over there as well. Subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and I hope to see you in the next one, where we will be talking about the Duolingo listening section next time.